Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of ZB's Horsepower Talk. As always, I'm ZB, Zack Brown, and joining with me, as always, is former 410 Sprint Car crew chief and mechanic, my dad, Jeff Brown. Dad, a lot to go over from Texas this past weekend. We'll touch on NHRA next week. As we're recording this right now, NHRA is currently finished up their 4-wide at Las Vegas. And touch on the Outlaw races, a couple of the high-limit races that we had. Newsflash, picks are not working out for you and I this weekend.
No.
And Mom's is for the Cup race. And we will give our picks for coming up at Talladega, and it's a crapshoot. So exciting to talk about this one, probably one of my favorite racetracks coming up this coming week. So let's talk about NASCAR at Texas. The Cup Series, as we're recording, just finished up there on that mile-and-a-half track. I got to say, it was more of an interesting race than I expected.
Yeah.
The track was hot and slick. Tires were wearing out. Drivers were sliding and spinning out. 12 cautions, 12 cautions, and ended in an overtime finish. Absolute crazy race at Texas. Chase Elliott prevails. Mom's pick, of course. So why wouldn't it?
Good for Chase Elliott. He's been struggling, but he was running the shit out of that thing, and he ballsed in there a couple times and made it stick, and he deserved to win. Kyle Larson, fast car early. Losing a right rear wheel. I mean, that's just that. There's just no excuse for that anymore. I don't know what happened or why, but
it's crazy that it actually lasted as long as it did out there, because it went like 10-15 laps and then finally fell off under that caution.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's going to be suspension.
Look how stiff those cars are. He loses the right rear wheel. The right side does not touch the ground at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just he drove it back into the pits with no right rear wheel. That's how stiff.
Unfortunately, suspensions are going to happen, and if you're going to have any mistakes like that, though, this is the time to have it.
But does it really even matter? I mean, Cliff's going to do the whole car. He's going to have everything every way, and Hendrick's probably got a guy or two that could jump right in and. I'm
sure they
Talladega,
know.
So
it's probably, I don't know who they all suspend. I think the car chief ends up filling in for Chad Canals might fill in for freaking Cliff Daniels at this point. You never know. They got plenty of people.
Pretty deep for that.
Yeah, they ain't worried about that. But I think it's a 2 to 4 race suspension or something like that. And Larson got back on the lead lap. The car just wasn't good in traffic. And when you get back there with some of the smackaronis, you get it caught up in wrecks too, which he did. He got hit from behind. He just had the worst possible luck. He had one of the fastest cars of the day and the car to beat. And that was killer right there. Chase Elliott takes advantage of all these cautions that happened.
But he was good all day.
Yeah, but the way pit strategy worked out, though, he was able to take advantage of it. A lot of people did, and a big shout out to Brad Keselowski getting a top 5, getting some momentum back after struggling. Yeah, after struggling for a little bit, and it was more interesting than I expected. Took forever. It was a long race for a 400-mile race at Texas. I think overall the restarts were really good. In the beginning, I thought it was going to be a typical Texas race and thought it was just going to be an ass kicking the whole time, but it ended up getting pretty interesting. So I guess our little soapbox from last week, we can kind of be like, well, I mean, Texas was all right. I think it was good. It's good when it's hot and slick like that. That makes the track and racing a lot better.
I was going to say, hey, NASCAR, cautions make the race much more interesting. These guys are so good that they don't crash a whole lot. I mean, they did today. But you need to have tire fall off. You need to make the cars, for whatever reason, the track is making the cars hard to drive. You need to make them hard to drive, and mistakes need to happen because cars, they don't blow engines anymore. And you get a good track, these guys generally really don't crash. So I mean, you got to make it to where they're overdriving these cars to make passes, and that's when mistakes happen. And the race is actually better that way.
I'm still going to stick with it. It will fix a lot of issues with the high horsepower.
Well, that would definitely do it. That would cause these guys to.
But you saw Chase. You saw Chase take chances, and he dove it in under Denny Hamlin and cleared him, and it was a fantastic pass. And you got to give Chase props for that. He ran the hell out of it, like you were mentioning earlier. Yeah. And I thought actually, if anybody was going to beat Chase there at the end, I thought Ross Chastain was going to be able to get it and maybe bump Chase out of the way, traditional Chastain fashion. But he just wasn't faster than Chase at the end.
Yeah,
and
he did everything he could. He tried to pack the air.
And he gets spun out by Byron. I think Byron just kind of misjudged how how fast he was actually coming off the corner.
Yeah,
and got
I think Ross
caught
had
up
to get out of the gas there and
yeah,
fire.
it obviously wasn't anything intentional. I don't think
Last
Ross
lap
would
you're not
say.
going to lift, so
No, he got started. He already started getting loose. Air was going under him, and he was already coming around. But yeah, so Cup race not too
that was a
bad.
good race.
Let's touch on the truck race, and then we'll talk on probably the best race of the weekend at Texas. Definitely the best race of the weekend at Texas, at least the finish. At the end of the truck race, it was all about Kyle Busch the whole race, but there was a chance that Corey Haim came up to get a win against Kyle Busch. But you're not going to pass Kyle Busch at a restart in the truck series. It just doesn't happen. Very valiant effort by Corey Haim at the end, but Kyle Busch prevails.
Which was
dominant.
both of our picks, or it was Corey Haim, right?
I picked Taylor Gray.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was going with some dark horses this weekend and nothing worked, except fantasy. I won again. Hey, I'm back on it.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I kept looking at it. I'm like dead last, and then I somehow ended up winning because all the cautions, everything fell. I'm like, you were close at some point too because all the smacks that didn't pit.
At one point, I was leading.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy, but so Kyle Busch dominates.
Sure.
Yeah, but Kyle Busch dominates the truck race and the Xfinity race. Let's touch on that real quick. Photo finish at Texas. It was literally an inch.
Yeah.
Sam Mayer somehow
get Ryan Sieg.
Yeah, heartbreak for him. He had like a second lead with like 5 laps to go. I'm like, oh, this race is over. And freaking Sam Mayer was coming, and he did it right, and he did it a very clean way. Sieg was able to actually try to crossover move off of turn 4. Just if the start finish line was like the track right behind you at Talladega, he probably would have ended up winning, but. Good for Sam Mayer. Heartbreak for Ryan Sieg. That's a big win that he wants to get for that team. That's his dad's team. So they've got a win. It was a road course ringer. I forget who jumped in the car for him, but with him, that would be a very special win. They jinxed the hell out of him in that. They're like, oh, this is gonna be a very special win for him. I'm like, oh, son of a bitch, he's gonna wreck now. And sorry, Adam Alexander. Damn, you jinxed.
Yeah, I can't believe Ryan Sieg's car went away. Therefore, like after that restart, he was by far the fastest car.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if it just burnt everything up, but if you didn't see it, Sam Mayer won by 1 inch. Yeah. And somehow they said that's the third closest Xfinity finish.
I'm sure
I
there's
don't know how
probably
you get closer than that one.
I think this one ended up being 2 1,000th, and I'm sure there's probably been a 1/1000th that ends up tying, and then you got to go to like the 10th 1,000th. I mean, I'm sure they look at all the data. But yeah.
You didn't know who won when you crossed the line. I mean,
I didn't expect that type of that was like an Atlanta finish that you saw at Texas. So I'm gonna say this. I think
was a good race this weekend.
I'm gonna give Texas props, and I think the weather had a lot to do with it, as being hot and slick as it was. That made a huge factor. Yeah, and I think the truck series, with it being under the lights, that's best for them, because if they raced on a track like we saw today, no. There's 12 cautions in the Cup Series. Can you imagine that? It would have been a long-ass race. Anyways, that does it for NASCAR. Let's touch on dirt racing. We'll touch on NHRA getting into next week when they actually head to Charlotte for the 4-wide there. They're finishing up the 4-wide at Las Vegas. So actually, when we get done here, I'll flip it on FS1 and end up watching it on there. So shout out to Tony Stewart making it to the semi-finals for the 4-wide. I don't know all the live results right now, so I'll check them out here in a minute. But this episode is brought to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is a live entertainment platform rethinking ticketing by caring more about their fans, teams, and venues. They are powering a new open entertainment industries where fans have effortless access to experiences and teams, venues, and shows, and have seamless access to their audiences. With trusted consumer marketplace and innovative enterprise ticketing technology, SeatGeek has what you need for any sporting event. Make sure you use my promo code ZBMedia to get $20 off your purchase from SeatGeek. That is ZBMEDIA from SeatGeek. $20 off. You can't beat that. Check them out now. Get your next concert, sporting event, or anything else from SeatGeek. Back to the show. World of Outlaws at I-55. you could probably say it was dominant by one person each night. David Gravel, night one. Donnie Schatz, as soon as he got the lead, he was gone on night two.
But you know what? They were, but they never really took off and hit. I mean, they were always kind of within. They were right there. One little bobble would have made.
Well, that's what happens when you hit lap traffic like at I-55.
Especially on a small track like that.
But again, it's
overall,
about
you know, it really wasn't much of a battle for the lead once they got the lead. But the racing in the top 10 was actually pretty good racing.
But the story of the year is who can get through this lap traffic the best, and you see the guys that are a little bit more experienced kind of rise to the top. And we've talked about it. Donnie Schatz, he's already got 2 wins on the year. Watch out once it really gets hot and slick, because he's
rejuvenated this year.
I'm looking ahead at Knoxville, and he is like the king of Knoxville of active drivers. And the way he's running, it's setting up for he might win the Knoxville Nationals this year. That's just this far ahead, but that's kind of my early favorite for that.
Yeah, he looks like Donnie Schatz from several years ago. I mean, the car's fast. He's driving well.
Well, I saw an interview, and he was basically pissed off the way last year finished, and he had to sit down with Tony, and they're like, "This is not how we're meeting expectations." And so they're on a revenge tour this year. So good for him, and David Gravel gets another win. So I think those two are now the championship favorites for sure.
Yeah, I would think so. I thought it was probably going to be a runaway for Gravel, but yeah, you can't count out Schatz this year, especially this year. So it's going to be interesting. And Gravel's probably like, son of a bitch, we're going to have a battle again. Get rid of Sweet. Now I got to battle Schatz.
Well, let's talk about the 2 races coming up this weekend for the World of Outlaws, Friday and Saturday. Paducah, is that how you pronounce it?
Paducah.
Paducah. Friday night. I think this is the first time the Outlaws have been here, and again,
since
this is
2012.
Okay, so first time in over a decade that they've been here. I saw they've raced some all-star races here before. Saw some clips of that. Looks like Eldora-esque track.
It's it's not as big as Eldora. It's a 3/8 mile oval. The dirt looks similar to like Ohio dirt, for what I remember. It was a little hard trying to find video on that. Maybe I didn't search for All Stars, but I was looking for Outlaws, so I didn't quite see what was going on. But it's been 12 years since they've raced there, so this is going to kind of be, cars are a lot different now than they were 12 years ago, making a lot more horsepower. We got different tires. The weight class is probably different, so this is going to be a little interesting. So they're going to have to dust off some similar track notes and get a good baseline, and I think this is where experience is going to prevail again on this weekend.
We always say that, but I mean, these guys are so freaking good anymore.
Yeah, they're all there's 10 guys,
at least. Where is this track?
It's in Paducah, Kentucky.
Yeah, I don't know where that is.
I don't know where the hell it is, but it's in Paducah, Kentucky.
It's in the Kentucky version of Kentucky. So I saw some stuff on there. I think it'll it's bigger than the second track they're going to, for sure. It looks like it's wide turns. It looks like it's wide turns, so hopefully there's a couple grooves, a couple different racing grooves. Might not hit lap traffic like you see some of these bull rings, so it'll be interesting for sure what they can do here. Let's get into it. Let's get our picks for Paducah on Friday night. Who you got?
This guy's fast. We were just talking about him, and I think experience is going to be a big deal. So it looks like the track's probably going to select. Oh, I got Donnie Schatz first night.
First night, I've got Toyota driver Buddy Kofoid.
Okay, yeah, he's another one that's been.
He and the North Pole Nightmare had some run-ins this past weekend.
Yeah. Bill Balog has. I don't know if they have the most improved driver in the World Outlaws, but I think right now he probably gets it. He's been.
Well, I don't know. Well, yeah, I mean, but he wasn't full time on World of Outlaws, so he can't really be. I think that's just gonna be the most. I think most impressive and most underrated that I've seen. Yeah, I did not expect him to really kind of go out there and show out every week, because usually if you hear him on this, you would expect him he's bring out one of the cautions on the highlights. So speaking of cautions, the crazy thing was Unless I'm mistaken, night 2 at I-55 there wasn't a caution.
Oh, that I didn't.
The highlights didn't
I
say.
watched the replay, so
The highlights, the replay didn't have any
yeah, I don't think
cautions
there
when they
was.
split, so that was actually really surprising. So I mean that must have been a fast race too, and just done like that. All right, so heading Saturday night to Tri-State Speedway.
Yeah, in Hobstadt, Indiana. So we have Paducah and Hobstadt.
Sounds like a metropolises.
Yeah, so this is a neat little track. It's quarter mile, high banked, tight corners. It's that dark, the dark clay,
Oh, yeah.
which I think makes a great racing surface. It's generally smooth. It's multiple grooves. You're going, it's another one of those like quarter mile bull rings. You're going to be in lap traffic in about 4 laps.
Flat.
What's that?
Flat. It looks flat.
It says it's high. It's high banked.
Is it high banked?
Yeah.
Oh well, then. Oh no, I'm thinking. Nope, sorry. I'm thinking of the high limit track we're about to talk about. Yep. Continue.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be a great.
But I like that dark dirt. I think that
and
builds. It gets a small cushion, but not a huge cushion like red clay can do. So I think it's one of those. If you can get on the bottom, you can be fast. If not, you can haul around the outside and be quick. But I think the win, you got to be good on both.
And with those, it's crazy. You don't really see a lot of dust come up out of those either.
For sure, it holds the moisture very well.
Which is good because I feel like if you got that, it would just be black when you take a shower. Just bleh. It'd be gross. All right, so Tri-State Speedway. Who's your pick on Saturday night?
This was your pick for the second night last week, so I'm going to give him a shot. He's kind of been letting me down, and I stepped away from Sheldon this week. So I got Carson Macedo.
All right, well, I mean, that type of track really does suit his driving style. I'm going with my dark horse once again for the year. Giovanni Scelzi's my pick for Saturday.
Yeah, I had him last week, and he really let me down, too.
It happens. Our picks last week sucked, so let's just that was just not. I don't think anyone finished. I think Bubba might have finished, maybe top 20, maybe, but it's just he was looking good for a while. Looked smarter than I actually was. All right, high limit.
Bubba got
finished. Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I don't know what everybody finished because 7,000 people wrecked today.
Yeah.
All right, high limit. Finishing off our dirt racing segment. They're racing again tonight as we're recording this. We got busy week this week for us, so that's why we're recording a little bit earlier than normal. So Southern Oklahoma is the first race. I'm going to guess this is in Southern Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's in Ardmore, Oklahoma. It according to their website, it's a 3/8 mile semi-banked D-shaped oval. I don't see it shaped being a D whatsoever, so I don't know. It looks just like a regular oval to me. But it looks super slick. I was watching, I think they were 305s. They looked like they were just skating on ice around that track. So I think if someone can hook on the bottom and stay down there, I think they can drive away. It's going to be tough to beat. I don't think there's enough on the outside. If one person can come off the bottom, you're not going to pass them on the outside. It's just going to be too slick.
I think and you're going to see some people try, though.
Yeah.
I think all three of these tracks they've had a while ago. They've had the All-Stars race there, so I think these are tracks that they left in the All-Star circuit. So it's nice to have these tracks that were on the All-Star schedule last year and the traditional years behind that they're bringing them back to it, so that they're able to get that revenue. That's good to see. It's good to see Larson and Sweet make that choice to do that. So, all right, well, Southern Oklahoma, who's your pick for that first race this week at High Limit?
Well, if it's going to be slick like what I was watching, this guy's good on the slick. I got Jacob Allen.
Oh, wow. I've got one. He's good literally any track he goes to. I think he actually was very competitive in the All-Star race that I was looking at. And, I mean, he's competitive in any race he races at. But I'm going with Sunshine, Tyler Courtney.
Yeah, he was running good last week. I had him picked. I thought maybe I had a shot there on that one.
We were wrong about the Larson pick.
Oh, yeah.
The Salina High Banks. This is probably a high bank track.
That's what, when you got it in your name. So this is a bigger track. This is a 3/8 mile high banked ovals. This is going to be maybe small Eldora. It's got 22 degrees of banking, which I know you just watched the Cup race. They got 24 or whatever these tracks. 22
that's a lot for dirt.
22 on dirt's a lot. They claim it to be the fastest track in Oklahoma. So this is going to be one where it just, the higher the speed, I think on this one, I'm going to say we're going to have a slightly worse race on this one. I think somebody's going to get out in front and
I think somebody's going to hook
on this one.
I think somebody's going to hook up right at about that far from the freaking fence, and they're going to ride that the entire race. I just got that feeling it's this type of racetrack that I think the cushion's going to be good.
Could very, very well happen, especially if it's like now the dirt's different in Oklahoma than it is at Eldora, so it could be a little different. But it kind of reminds you of that type of a track.
Yeah. All right. Well, the high banks of Salina. Who do you got?
I got Brad Sweet on this one.
He ran really well last week.
Yeah.
He's
gonna get one. Right. You know, he's
gonna get one. He's gonna get a few. For a reason. Yeah, he's gonna get a few. He's usually a little bit. He takes usually a few races traditionally in World of Outlaws too, and then once he starts getting them, he gets rolling.
Yeah.
I'm going with this guy. Not too many people run the high line better than him, and he'll run the hell out of it. He'll hit the wall, whap it a few times. Rico Abreu. So you got the big cat, I got the big guy.
Yeah, that's right.
And shout out to Anthony Macri getting a win at the high limit at Texas Motor Speedway. That was a big time win for him.
Yeah, he was fast. That was a good battle between he and Sunshine.
And that's about it was like a clean, dirty type thing. And it wasn't dirty, but he was aggressive. It was aggressively clean.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know what? It's a sprint car race. You don't have
good.
Time to do it. You just got to go.
It was really good. It was impressive. And for whatever reason, Anthony Macri just got it hooked up when he goes to these high limit events. So now next Tuesday, not this Tuesday when this is coming out, guys. This is next Tuesday's high stakes midweek pay thing that they called. I don't know what it's called. The Riverside International Speedway is what next Tuesday is going to be.
This was scheduled earlier in the year.
Yeah, and this one is a traditional all-star track that they go to and that they kept, and it actually puts on tons of racing events all year.
Yeah, my notes say quarter mile, high banked, gumbo, dirt oval, whatever the hell that means.
So it's a bull ring.
Yeah, I don't know what the gumbo dirt is, but
is it Louisiana?
Exactly. I mean, it looks slick to me. I mean, it doesn't look like you think gumbo is probably going to be like a sticky. It looks like most of the cars try to run the bottom, and because for a quarter mile it's actually pretty wide, so that outside really gets way out there and up against the wall. So if you're going to run that, you're going to put your right rear on that wall.
Well, this one could be another good one. High stakes races are always really, really fun to see. Who do you got for this one?
Well, I'm using your philosophy that this guy runs the outside as well as
we got the same
anybody. And you know what? After seeing how good Macri's been running, he's not afraid to stick her on the outside. But I got Rico Abreu on this one.
Oh, okay. We don't have the same pick. All right. I'm just going with the low-hanging fruit on this one. I think he'll bounce back in a big way. I got Kyle Larson.
Okay.
All right. So let's get into. We're back in Indy.
Real quick though, on Flow, I watched the Port Royal race Saturday night.
Oh, hell of a race, yeah.
Man, it was a great. I don't know where Devin Borden started, but it was 12th to 16th.
And
he had that thing up against the wall, just running the shit out of that thing, and came out. And lap cars were being dicks. I don't think the outcome would have changed any, but sometimes they were really screwing up Dietrich, and the next lap they'd screw up Borden. I mean, they were just all over the freaking place. But I mean, that was probably the best race of the weekend. That was a hell of a race.
Between that and the Xfinity photo finish, basically last second. Yeah.
But yeah, last lap pass for the win, so he got the hard charger award and the win. So
yeah, I did see that. I think that's 2 weeks in a row at Port, the hard charger and the winner were the same thing because Double D got it at I think it was Port. Yeah, I believe it was Port. He won. It was, last week or the week before. I can't remember because they have tons of rain dates that have happened up there. But that does it for the dirt racing segment this week. And let's get into back to asphalt. IndyCar is back off the streets of Long Beach. And this is a lot of drivers love this one. This is actually a really big marquee event in IndyCar racing these days. Which any race on the schedule, there's not that many. So you're going to, a lot of these they mean a lot.
Yeah, this one seems to have a lot of prestige. I'm just not a real big fan of street courses. The Indy cars are not bad, but it's it's a 1.968 11 turn temporary street circuit. It encircles the Long Beach Convention Center, says which houses family fun zone, numerous displays during the race weekend, and runs down the scenic Shoreline Drive. Offers numerous overtaking opportunities, include turn 1, getting to hairpin turn just before the front stretch is critical. So that's right from their website about the thing. The race comes on Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern, and it's on USA and Peacock. I include that because that race, Indy cars, you just don't remember there. At least we don't remember they're on or what channel it's on. So
you got to follow their social media, at least their Facebook page. The Facebook page got a lot better than damn NHRA and stuff. But it should be a very scenic race. These street courses.
Oh, it's a beautiful area.
Yeah, if anything, these street courses are really, really just awesome shots that you see. I would expect probably one dominant person. You usually do at the street courses. If you start top 4, that's anybody behind that, you're likely not going to get it.
Not likely.
You're going to see some pit strategy, see how they which tires you want to use when, and you can't pit too early, can't pit too late, so that kind of has a factor. Unless you have a 25-second lead, then it doesn't really matter what you do. But IndyCar's better than Formula One in the fact that they don't really get out to that massive, massive lead where they're like, oh, they're only 5 minutes behind or something. So IndyCar it'll be a better race than you usually see at Long Beach. But they got back-to-back weeks coming up here. So we'll finish off IndyCar in a second. But let's give our picks for Long Beach. So go ahead with yours.
I took the low-hanging fruit on this one. You dominated that thing out in California last time around. I got Alex Palou.
Yeah, we got the same damn one. Yeah, just as dominant as I saw.
But he has not won this race in the last 5 years. I was looking for previous winners.
Well, he really got rolling last year. Was his year that he's
won it last year, I think, and then Newgarden the year before. But
well,
as fast as he was at that private race course, that was an
ass kicking. That was an old school ass kicking that he did at that road course. So, I'd be shocked if he doesn't win. Now he won't.
We both picked him, so he's screwed.
Yeah, he's gonna have a tire fall off like certain drivers we root for. Real quick, sticking on IndyCar, big shout out to Kyle Larson. He didn't have a tire fall off in this test. He actually was the second fastest around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for Indy 500 practice. The fastest by a lot, though, was Joseph Newgarden, the defending 500 winner. But Larson was able to have very respectable laps, of course, and a lot of confidence booster that he's going to have. And he even said that he's using this just as a learning curve. He just wants to be able to log laps, get better and better, and try to figure these things out. Next time he's on it is the Indianapolis 500 practices here in a couple of weeks. So it's exciting. It's already the car's good. I mean, it's going to be a good car, and he's not an idiot, so he knows how to drive these damn things. So it'll be he's at least going to make the show. I'm not too worried about that. No. Something's going to end up happening.
He definitely had to learn how the car handles. You get behind other cars, how all of a sudden the air changes those things, and how they.
Well, I saw a clip of an interview he had with Michael Waltrip, and everybody always talks about the G forces and everything with the Indy cars and how drastic they can be, especially with the open cockpit and everything. But he even said it doesn't, in general, feel too much different than the next gen cars that he has. So he's adapted to it fine. He might pull more G's in a lot of sprint cars than anything. It'll be fun. That's just one step closer. Hopefully, he has a good run while we're there. I'll have to make sure I'm not wearing whatever I wore today. That gave him bad luck. So, yeah. So, yeah, just big shout out to him. That was a big time. Practice.
226 mile an hour.
I think that was a big statement that he had to saying, "Yeah, I'm here." So.
It was actually racing with VK and, kind of drafted up and passed it and had VK come up, draft him and pass him. So he kind of got
definitely better than what Jimmy Johnson was trying to do. Yeah. So we'll talk about Jimmy Johnson in a second. I got some thoughts on some stuff here in a minute. Actually, I'm just going to bring that up. This is just kind of my thoughts, but do you think Jimmy's kind of starting to tarnish his whole entire legacy in his career by staying racing, and it's just been everybody's starting to forget how good he was a couple years ago, and now he's just he can't not even competitive in anything he races now.
No, it's kind of you think he's I don't know how many times he's won Texas, so he knows how to get around this thing. Now these cars are different, and he doesn't have Chad Canals, but his other cars were.
You just think he would be
John Hunter Nemechek's awful now, but
Eric Jones was up there.
Eric Jones is definitely the flagship of that team. I'm saying, and
you would just think that a 7-time champion would be better in any of even the IndyCar series, that he would be able to figure something. I feel like he might be slightly tarnishing his Hall of Fame career that he had with a 7-time championship.
Just give it up and be the owner of the team, and
Every driver ends up losing it at some point. Just stop doing it, and you're just making it look worse.
Yeah, I mean he's not that old. He's I don't know how old he is, 40 couple, but
I think he's about the same age as Harvick at like 48 or something.
Yeah, it just sometimes it just doesn't click anymore.
But I did see that I kind of understand where his point of view is, that he's trying to hop in this himself. That way he can help get that team whatever they need to improve. Hasn't worked yet, but
in practice, Kyle Busch did the same thing, lost it, so you can't argue that
Kyle Busch sucks.
Great
that car is terrible. Yeah. That car is freaking terrible. I feel bad for Kyle Busch. That car is just awful. He clearly hasn't lost it because he just whipped everybody's ass in the truck series. So, all right, let's get off that soapbox. I just wanted to bring that up because I was just thinking about as the race going on. I'm like, that's just, I don't know. NASCAR at Talladega, we're previewing it this week. We've been to it a couple times, and it's awesome. It's just it's an awesome track. Big, it's freaking huge. It's a freaking enormous track. If you've never been to Talladega, people, I can't describe. It's huge. It's a massive freaking track.
Yeah, it don't seem like it's compared to Daytona. It's 2.66. Daytona's 2.5. You go in the stands at Daytona, you can see the backstretch. You go to the stands at Talladega, you can't see shit in the back. You don't know what the hell's going on back there. You have to watch the TVs they have.
But it is fun being there in person, I will say.
Oh, yeah.
It's freaking cool. And where we had seats, start finish line, it's actually, you could see quite a lot. I mean, we saw everything besides just the backstretch. You could see getting in the middle of turns 3 and 4. You could see the entire 1 and 2. And last time we were there, Chase Elliott won. So, and he just won today as we're recording this. So, all right, as we always do, starting off our NASCAR previewing segment, here's our trivia question this week. Okay. This should be pretty easy for you. But who are the 3 original Alabama gang members? And the Alabama gang is not like a gang like Thug Nation people. This is literally just this is what they called the racers back in the day.
Bobby and Donnie Allison.
Yep.
And Neil Bonnet.
Nope.
Wow, wasn't Neil Bonnet?
No.
Huh.
This guy actually still races, and he's really old.
Red Farmer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Red Farmer, Bobby and Donnie Allison. Fun trivia question. All right, power rankings for this week. We're not going to do our fantasy because it hasn't been released yet, what the matchups are and everything. So we'll give our pick like we usually do. We're going to post our fantasy picks and lineups and matchups and all that stuff on our social media account, the Facebook, Instagram.
So if you want to see the 5 drivers not to pick, just pick mine because I suck ass. It's so bad.
I'm doing well in our. I don't know if I'm going to end up having. I think I'm going to have a slight lead now over her. She and I are having a hell of a battle for the final win.
I'm already mathematically eliminated.
I don't think that's true, but we'll post some stuff. Newsflash to everybody: I'm probably gonna pick some people that no one's ever heard of because we're at freaking Talladega. Anybody can win, and it's just a crapshoot. And I can't use the good drivers because I need them for actual wins and stuff later on. So let's get in our power rankings as it just finished at Texas. Let me go first and let you get into it. So. Starting at number 5, moving into my top 5, I've got Tyler Reddick from 2311. Finally getting the top 5, getting some consistent races out of him, and he's good on these mile and a halves. Number 4, I've got Chase Elliott. Just won at Texas, and he's knocking off top 5s and top 3s, so he's rising. Number 3, falling from my number 1, I've got Kyle Larson. He was the fastest car once again for about a stage and a half, and then his tire just fell off. Number 2 is Denny Hamlin. He was number 3. I'm going to move him up a little bit more competitive, racing for that win, as consistent as he gets to, and he's going to be up there at Talladega. He always is at these speedway races, and he's got it figured out. Really good spotter, by the way. Shout out, Chris. He's on here before. If y'all haven't seen that one, go check it out. And number 1, I've got William Byron. Jumping from number 2 to number 1, he came out. But where the hell he came from in this race? Ended up damn top 5. No, he got 6, I think. I think he just fell out the top 5 of that.
He's
restart.
kind of very Kevin Harvick-esque. It's like all of a sudden you look up at the end.
Blaney was up there, and then he got in a wreck because I have Blaney still out of it. That's the crazy thing about power rank is that's much they can change. So, all right, go with your 5.
All right. Speaking of Blaney. He is not in my top 5 this week. He
finally fell out.
Finally fell out. So number 5, I dropped him down from number 3 last week. I got Kyle Larson at number 5.
Yep.
Up one spot at number 4. And I didn't realize he finished as well as he did until I looked at the results. I got Bubba Wallace. He had a bad day and still came home 7th. So, good race. And this is also kind of leading into Talladega, which Bubba gets good. He's
home track. It's his home track. Yep.
So, number 3, I got this week's race winner. He's also very good at Talladega. I got Chase Elliott. And number 2 stays the same. I got Denny Hamlin. And number 1 is, right now it's like heads above the favorite for the championship as of now, William Byron.
And it can always change. I mean,
oh yeah, it takes a couple bad weeks, and then all of a sudden you're.
At this point last year, did anybody ever think that Blaney was going to win the championship? No.
No, I didn't think that into the round of 8. I thought there's no chance Blaney's going to win that thing.
No. And then once he got after he won Martinsville, though, then I'm like, he's going to freaking win this thing. I didn't pick him because I'm an idiot. But yeah. All right. So Xfinity there and Cup there this weekend. Trucks are in the fall. They used to do all 3 in the fall. I think it's just going to be back to 2 once again in the fall. That's the one we always went to.
Yeah, it was nice having the trucks and Xfinity in the same day. That was kind of
that fun. Was good. You can't beat that. We had 2 days, and it was not expensive for each ticket. I think total it was just north of $100. You can't beat that anymore at NASCAR for 3 races in one weekend. It's gonna be fast. It might be hot and slick, like you saw. That could be a factor at it. And the surface of Talladega is slowly but surely wearing out. So tires could even start being a factor at Talladega for once.
Yeah, it's starting to be a little bit more of a handling track. You normally think of Daytona as more of handling, and Talladega it doesn't really matter. But like I said, the surface is starting to wear out. Handling could be an issue. Strategy could be big. And it's one of them. Chevy teams still have not figured out how to really work together.
Mm-mm.
Ford is probably the best at it, and Toyota's pretty good. But Ford guys, they'll line up
the
with
Toyotas,
some snack and they'll drag out some bitch around there and be quick.
Well, there's like 7 Toyotas, 8 Toyotas or something. There's not a lot of Toyotas, so like there's only so many that could work. Oh, yeah, well, Ford, but I think RFK specifically. I think Brad bringing that perspective to speedway racing, or drafting tracks. That has definitely helped them out a ton. Yeah. So we say that in the last speedway race that they had a Chevy one. So I don't know.
I know, but I'm just
And William Byron won the 500, so it's like, yeah. So Chevys are 2 for 2 for Speedway racing this year.
this is true.
But it doesn't mean they've been working together. I see what you're talking about. So yeah, Xfinity there, Cup there. This is a crapshoot who we want to pick. Xfinity, I actually kind of used logic in this one because there's actually there's only actual few that can win at Xfinity. But as I'm saying that, I'm thinking of drivers like Shane Van Gisbergen that's got a good shot to win it this weekend because, I mean, why not? I mean, that car's a good car.
I think he's in for an awakening here when he gets to this track.
Trevor Bayne won the first time he ever hopped in a Cup car at the Daytona 500.
This is true.
So you never know. He might say crikey a bunch. So, all right, who's your Xfinity pick on Saturday?
Well, I was just talking about how good Fords are, so I kind of got a Ford theme going here. So probably the most, well, I don't know the most experience, but he's got Cup experience. I got Cole Custer in the Stewart Haas car. He's only seems to be right up front on these,
I don't have a theme here because it's Talladega. My theme is these drivers are actually pretty decent at Speedway racing. Is it going to mean anything? No. This is Talladega.
I don't know why I didn't pick Austin Hill, but
hey, that's my pick. There you go. Yeah, that's my pick's Austin Hill.
It's hard to go against him, but I was determined it's going to be a Ford this time.
I mean, who knows? We can't really pick any worse than we did last week. So, all right, the Cup race Sunday. We haven't been to the spring race. That'd be a fun one to go to. But I think I might start thinking about doing Martinsville spring and then Talladega fall. That might be a good almost tradition to start to think about doing. But all right, Sunday. Who do you got on this one? You got Ford. I'm gonna take a guess who you probably have.
I got a Ford. He's as good as any of them on there. So I got Joey Logano winning.
Okay, thank God.
Mom's got Blaney.
Okay, thank God. I ain't got anybody's pick. I've got Brad Keselowski for Sunday. After that strong finish at Texas,
I would like to see Brad win.
I keep saying he is due for a win. He just is.
He's the winningest active, speedway racer. So
yeah, and I think
definitely. What's he got, like 9 at Talladega or something like that?
Something like crazy.
One more ties like Earnhardt or Gordon or somebody.
Yeah, he's up there. And Blaney, I think, is the next active at Talladega. Either he or Danny. I think it's him. I think it's Blaney. It seems Blaney wins like every other year at Talladega. But I keep saying it. Brad Keselowski is due. He's due for a win. Yeah, I think it's really all. I was trying to think of a top 5 for next week. There's a few that have come to my mind, so we're just gonna have some random one right now. This kind of goes into tailgating, and we've tailgated a bunch, and I just got done tailgating with my 5-year-old at Martinsville, and there's a bunch of things that you need to have when you go into a tailgate. But there's also basic necessities that have to be brought with it. So the 5 things you have to have at a tailgate.
Okay, that should be interesting.
There we go. Some a little bit different, a little bit fun, and you guys let us know what your 5 that you need to have at a tailgate. Number 1, these aren't really going to be in order. These are just 5 that you have to have. So it's not really a ranking. It's more we just need to have these 5, and we're going to have identical lists. So. But what do you guys think? If you could narrow it down to 5, what do you need to have at a tailgate for these races? So,
I think we forgot some information of what we had at Talladega the first year we went there? We had some wild shit on the grill, so that's.
Well, we'll bring that up next week. We'll bring that up. We'll talk about all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure that'll be some fun stories. So make sure you guys stay tuned. The Sammy Swindell episode is going to drop sooner than later. We will post it on our social media when that does. Make sure you follow anywhere you get your podcast, all social media platforms. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you see all of our special guests that we have. The most recent one right now as we're recording this is the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame director, Bob Baker. So check that one out. A lot of awesome information on that one. And until next week, we will see you guys then.
Yep. Talladega, baby.
Hell yeah, let's go.